Hello, leaders. Welcome to Digital Magic, a platform where we spotlight visionary leaders who are shaping the future of business and technology. I'm your host, Nisha Sharma, and today we are joined by a revolutionary voice at the forefront of enterprise technology transformation, Mahjabeen Taj Alam, Chief Digital and Information Officer at Recam RPG. With over 2 decades of experience leading digital strategy, IT modernization, and cultural change in high impact industry, Majibin is known for her bold vision and practical approach to innovations. Thank you, Majibin, for joining us.
Thank you, Risha. Thanks for inviting.
So, my very first question is you moved up from CIO to Chief Digital and Information Officer at ACAM RPG in 2024. So, merging digital strategy with technology leadership, what are the primary goals you have set in this expanded role? And how do you see that your organization's digitally journey evolved?
You're asking questions like my boss when you talk about goals and goal sheets. But no, on a serious note, it has definitely been more than a title change for me, Nisha. And I think earlier in my CIO avatar, I think I used to worry more about servers crashing. And now in this new role, I think I also worry about strategy kind of stalling. So I think from deploying tech to kind of delivering value, I think that's what the D in CDIO stands for, and probably that's the differentiator. Because if we look around, we realize that technology is no longer backstage anymore. It is now pretty much the spotlight, which is defining how we are competing, how businesses are competing. So with that, I think over in the last decade, there has been a phenomenal mindset shift for the CIOs from being just technology enablers. Now they are also pretty much a core business value creator. And I think in my new role, my primary goal does remains very simple. It's like every digital initiative now has to have a measurable business impact, and that could be revenue enablement, that could be operational resilience, or just customer delight. So if you see digital journey and our digital journey is kind of moving from very siloed IT projects to sort of enterprise wide platforms, and we are moving from being cost centers to being actual growth drivers. So interestingly, a few days back, I was just joking, me and my team were joking about it, and we were like, sometimes we feel that our machines are in fact now talking to each other more than some of our departments do. uh, and we do hope they don't unionize, but yes, I think that could be the shift that I have seen from a CIO to a CDI.
That's a very interesting one. So my next question is, in an interview remark, smart products and AI-driven automations go hand in hand. So how do you see that translating into real-world solutions, especially in predictive maintenance or quality control?
See, smart products and AI, in my mind, and I think largely that's the reality of the world also today, they are not science fiction concepts anymore, like they used to be at some point. They are pretty much line items on the P&L of many forward-looking businesses and organizations. If I'm to talk about Rekim RPG at RRL, we are gradually moving from a firefighting to, you can say, more of a fireproofing format. And we are working on machines that will be able to detect their own fatigue before our team actually does. And we do plan to do that by embedding intelligence directly into the products and the processes that we kind of implement. There are so many live examples today, if you see, of AI models predicting equipment failures, which could be like weeks in advance of actual breakdown. And imagine the kind of power it will give to maintenance teams. It will allow them to act even before a downtime occurs, which makes life simpler, which makes business more resilient. Quality control, if you see Vision AI, it performs inspections with near zero error rates. And for us itself, it does it for, few of our product lines. So AI can definitely spot detects faster defects faster than the best trained human eye can. And unlike humans, it will not blink, it will not take coffee breaks. It will not go on leave. So that kind of, builds in that dependability and redundancy. And that sure is very handy.
So, do you believe that having AI won't involve more in our jobs and profile is better than being better than human intelligence?
There are areas where definitely AI adds much more value than a human can, and these would be profiles, or these would be jobs which are more, you can say, process driven, or where you can, kind of define a fixed route from A to B. But there would always be areas where a point of time intelligence is required, or where the other aspects of human personality is required, and those are the things where AI so far has not been able to make any headway. We can't predict about the future, but as of today, repetitive task is something which can easily be any day done better by AI than by human, but there still remain areas where humans will do a far better job than any technology could.
Fair enough. So, my next question is about outcomes. So, can you share quantifiable outcomes such as improvement in uptime, quality, customer experience, or cost efficiencies from recent digital initiatives?
We've been on a very focused digitization journey for last couple of years now, and we are gradually reaping the benefits that we had foresawn. So, from reducing COPQ to unplanned downtimes, we are ourselves building an ecosystem where both my internal and my external customers are happy and they feel better in control. See, the ROI of digital is no longer theoretical. We can measure it in hours saved, defects avoided, customers retained. And if we made just a 20% shift in efficiency, imagine in factory terms, it's like finding the 25th hour in a day, which is huge. So, by cutting inefficiencies, by cutting defect rates, by fast tracking our product launch timelines, we can gain an edge over competition for sure. And that's where AI and digital twins will come in handy. And we are gradually working towards that. I guess one step at a time. And that's how we are trying to, kind of make both our customers as well as our finance teams happy. And that is our holy grail. And when IT and finance, they both kind of smile at the same data, then you kind of know you have done something right.
Definitely, because running after something without thinking of wisely is not a good thing. So, yeah, you have to think financially and then how more
All the time.
your goals. Yeah. Yeah. So my next question is about like looking ahead, what emerging technologies or strategic partnerships are you exploring at the intersections of smart manufacturing, energy resilience, and ESG innovation?
We are looking at partnerships in AI powered energy management, you can say, robotics for hazardous tasks, digital platforms for ESG reporting. See, ESG reports are, anyways, now the new Tinder profiles. Everybody is swiping through them these days to decide if you are, worth partnering with. So, to that effect, I think energy resilience for sure is on our radar. And business agenda around smart grid integration is also something that could be looked at. Green technologies that align with our sustainability goals. Because innovation doesn't happen in isolation, it's a team sport, very frankly, and without it, it cannot happen. And ESG also isn't a compliance checkbox anymore. It is also becoming a competitive differentiator. So we are building ESG into our digital DNA itself. And like they say, green is the new lean. So we are also adopting it as a mantra.
That's great. Really looking forward to it. Uh, like my next question is from reporting and compliance standpoint. How are you aligning IT governance with evolving cybersecurity frameworks such as NIST, ISO 27001, or regulatory expectations?
IT governance, I would say, Nisha, it's like flossing. It's very unglamorous, but it's very necessary. And everyone would lie about doing it daily. वो होता नहीं है लेकिन. But having said that, I think we have moved beyond perimeter security. We are now more like a gated community with motion sensors, cameras, and a neighbor who's always watching. But we are aligned with NISTs and ISOs of the world. We are ourselves ISO certified. We are actively working on zero trust frameworks. We trust no one. So we have implemented continuous monitoring, automated threat detections. All of these feed directly into our incident response playbooks, and to that measure and effect, we have uh, done these things. But one central theme that all of us need to understand and accept today is that compliance it's is not just about passing audits. It's also about building resilience. And I do believe, and not being, kind of pompous, but essentially, I think you do yourself a favor when you comply. So security is not just IT's responsibility. It should be, and I think increasingly so, it is also becoming a boardroom agenda. So I guess with that sort of changes happening in the ecosystem, the alignment of business with security and then the overall alignment of IT governance is kind of something which is moving in a very positive direction today.
Definitely, because the governance or compliance is secure. Either even if we call it for a personal life or a professional life or organization or a one home, the securityism should be one of the main points to take care of. So my next question is, what are some of the key insights you have gathered from your internal IT risk or threat intelligence reports, and how do they shape your security investments?
I think phishing still remains the topmost threat which is there. We have added anomaly detection, smarter endpoint security. But most importantly, we focus on our employees having a click responsibility. See, even the most advanced firewall, it cannot fix a curious employee who has a love for clicking all the suspicious links that they, kind of get. So one click can take down your entire network, or it can take down your reputation. Sometimes it can take down both. So we keep telling our employees that, when in doubt, don't click, just forward it to IT. And for this, we, keep running regular phishing simulations, follow it by trainings. We are using AI-based anomaly detection to catch threats before they even escalate. We also conduct breach attack simulations. See, risk is inevitable, but being blindsided is optional. So, employee awareness trainings does they remain our key agenda, and we run it throughout the year. And at the same time, we do keep building a very stronger, secure, solution-based ecosystem around it.
That's a very insightful session. Thank you, Majbeen, for joining us. And for viewers, stay tuned for next episode. Thank you.